Today's topic is tracking the enemy jungle and avoiding ganks and unnecessary deaths. I know a lot of you might think it is harder to track the jungler in lower elos as they'll do random stuff compared to someone that's smart about the game. Now while that's somewhat true, it is still possible to track the enemy, and them doing random stuff can even make it easier to track them, as they'll often randomly show instead of staying in fog. As for today's video, we'll go over replays of my educational unranked to master Zeri only series to prove that you can track junglers in any elo. So let's get right into the first replay. Alright, so the first thing you want to do is identify the jungler's goal this game. Here for example it is Kha'Zix versus Evelynn, and both junglers have kind of a hard time ganking before level 6, even though it's not impossible. So the goal is to clear the jungle as efficiently as possible to reach level 6 fast, because Evelynn and Kha'Zix with invisibility and evolve and stuff have such an easy time ganking compared to before that point of the game. There's other junglers with the same playstyle, for example Fiddlesticks, Hecarim and Taliyah, but there's also jungle champs that can level 2 gank like Jarvan, Nunu, Poppy, or level 3 gank like Xin Zhao, Elise, Lee Sin and Volibear. But while these junglers can gank level 3, they usually still like to be efficient with their clear. Some other examples for this are Viego, Belref and Taliyah. All of these champions could gank level 3, but typically don't really like doing that and skipping camps for it. Okay, so how do we track the enemy jungle? So option number 1 is checking where the enemy leashed by seeing if they come late to the lane. In this game, for example, Ezreal is here at 130 and so is Neferi. Same for the Gragas and me. So here we don't know, and the enemy also doesn't know where our jungler and the enemy jungler is. Now, you can also use this to your advantage. For example, if you're against a lane like Draven, Nautilus or something where you have a hard time walking up since your support is weak like a Sona or whatever. I'm just throwing out random examples here. But if you can't walk up level 1, you can for example not show in your lane level 1 and have the jungler start leashless on the opposite side of the map. Now, this can be for use because the enemy will think, wow, he's leashing on bot side, so enemy jungle will not be on bot side later on in the game. And I can play aggressive and then boom, jungler ganks and you die. So option number 2, warding the enemy jungle. You can either ward like their buff and see which buff they start on if you get the chance to walk into enemy jungle level 1. Or typically what mid laners do is get a ward on the Reptiles, as it's quite safe to go there around the 1 minute 15 mark and just ward it. And then you will either see if Kha'Zix started bot side, he will clear his bot side and then be on Reptiles as his 4th camp. Or he'll start red, do Crux and then be on his 3rd camp Raptors here and clear into bot side after. Now, if you don't have these two options, third option you can have is make an assumption, like which lane does the enemy jungler rather path to. Usually that's like prio lanes or lanes that are like easier to gank. In this game, for example, if I was the Kha'Zix, I'd like to start at red buff and path into my bot lane. Why? Because Ezreal and Renata are stronger at level 1 at skirmishing and at pushing than Zeri and Nautilus, and typically Ezreal Renata should get prio in this lane and then just be able to help him take the crab or invade the enemy jungle in case Evelynn, like in this game, starts in topside, which he obviously has to spot out as well. Now, if your assumption is wrong because the enemy makes a mistake, it doesn't really matter that much. This game, for example, spoiler, Kha'Zix is starting on bot side, which I think is really bad for him. So my assumption at the start of this game was wrong. Now it doesn't really matter because all I have to do is around the level 3 timer or level 4 timer of Kha'Zix, I kinda need to just play safe or have a ward that covers me from him, just to be sure that he can't gank me around this timer. Now in this game, Kha'Zix actually goes and ganks bot lane as a skirmish level 2 and picks up a free kill on Nautilus that his laners would have picked up without him. Now I know he started blue side since he took blue buff. And another important keynote to mention here is jungle camps give you 4 CS. So after a full clear of a jungler, the jungler will have 24 CS plus the grab, which makes him have 28 CS. So you can press tab if you spot the jungler once and see how many camps he's cleared and if he skipped camps, etc, etc. Okay, seeing the Kha'Zix bot lane here lets me know that he's clearing towards top side, and also lets me know that his clear will be delayed now since he wasted time walking from the blue buff to bot lane and now he has to walk back instead of already having finished the crab like my Evelynn almost has. So now we know he's gonna clear towards his top side and just speed it up. And Evelynn knows that as well, like since she spotted him out here, she invades him and takes his Raptors. So with this information, the enemy team right now should also know that Evelynn is on top side and that she started on blue buff, because if she started red buff, there would never be enough time for her to steal this camp. But yeah, let's just keep going. The Kha'Zix does another random thing. He thinks Evelyn is on the crux, so he runs around here. And just wastes his time. The thing is, I still about know his position, because even if he didn't waste a lot of his time, I still know that he is around topside right now. And the next important note to have is that jungle camps respawn, like the normal jungle camps, they respawn 2 minutes and 15 seconds after their first clear. So if the game goes normal and Kha'Zix starts bot side and just does the normal full clear, Grom should respawn around the 4 minute mark, 4 minute 10, 4 minute 15. And that's where he should be returning to his bot side camps. Obviously he doesn't do that, since it's like in a lower elo, around platinum range, emerald. But yeah, we know for a fact that he's topside right now, since he delayed his clear. And yeah, I have a fight on bot lane, and I know he can't be on bot lane as well, since I just spotted him mid. I press tab, I see he has 20 CS, so I know he hasn't even cleared his crab, so he's gonna clear the crab and then return to his bot side. Now, he's ganking mid lane again, since my mid laner overextends. And spoiler this game, since we also want to track the Evelyn for the enemy jungle, Evelyn has not showed the whole game until this point for enemy vision. And the first time they spot her out here is, well, when she walks mid lane to pick up the skill on the Kha'Zix. Now, how can you track the Evelyn, have future ideas on where she's gonna be on the map? It's quite easy. You can see she did red buff after blue buff, since her blue buff is already gone. If she has both buffs, you can just click on her and check the duration of red and blue buff and see which one was done first, and then you know which side she started on. So yeah, in this game, we know at this point Evelyn will return to her top side after whatever she's doing here in mid. And yeah, Kha'Zix will be returning to his bot side since its bot camps are up. Now he'll be back on bot side, and I have to respect this timer. Now after he clears his bot side, he will be on top side again, and so on, so on. Same for the enemy team now knowing that Evelyn just finished the crab, wants to recall, and wants to walk topside and clear top to bot again. This is how you track the jungle. Another important thing to point out is that obviously, since we now know that he's gonna be bot and then top and then bot and then top again after the 2 minute respawn timers, that doesn't mean that he will always follow this pattern throughout the whole game. Especially during like later stages in the game, he'll be able to have more freedom of skipping camps or just clear the camps faster in general. Now, if my support, for example, this game was tracking the enemy jungle correctly, he would know that Kha'Zix is bot set right now, as I pointed out, and not go for this and hook in. Because as he hooks in, Kha'Zix is already close by. Obviously, it is good in a 2v2 and we would just kill the Renata there. But since Kha'Zix is here, we can't really do anything, and he just gives up a free kill. And we can't really do much more besides running away afterwards. Alright, into a somewhat high elo game. The last one was around a platinum emerald average, while this is D2, D1 average. So clearly we can see Rek'Sai started on her blue buff as enemy bot lane is coming to lane really late. And from there on we can track Rek'Sai. I was saying earlier that junglers like Rek'Sai can do level 3 ganks, but oftentimes that will still not be the case. If they can't look for an opportunity, they will likely just want to full clear, which is what Rek'Sai is doing, and it's fairly obvious that she's topside right now. She wants to contest the crab, but Nidalee already got it due to her having a faster clear. So Rek'Sai is going bot, taking the crab, and then going for a reset to get items after clearing. Right, okay, so now bot side camps are about to respawn. So what should be happening is she just goes back to bot side, clears into top again, looks for another opportunity on top. As top lane is really hard to gank right now, mid lane is really hard to gank right now, and bot lane is really hard to gank right now. All the lanes are pushed in, lanes are resetting. It's not really a good opportunity to find a gank. Now, what Rek'Sai does instead, run top, counter a gank, top laner dies, nothing really happens, he's just wasting his time. I guess he stopped Nidalee's reset. He's still wasting his time, kind of. There's no way in the world he's ever gonna get a gank off here. Penfin is way too far away, he's not level 6. So he's just walking up here, but he doesn't really do anything. Makes this game kind of awkward. He gets void grubs here, but my main point with this is, like, some junglers, they like to skip camps to look for opportunities, especially when they're not bound to like a certain item spike or level spike. But generally, it is still quite easy to track them. You gotta respect people making such type of plays, try and catch you off guard. But yeah, in the end, it would have still been way better for Rek'Sai to just be clearing her camps instead of wasting her time, and then she could still be on void grabs right now if she just skips Crux instead. And now a quick summary for important key points of this video. So there's 3 ways to track the jungle. either by warding their jungle, by seeing where the lane has leash level 1, and then just the third way is assuming what the enemy jungler is gonna do depending on his champion. Another important thing to remember is camp respawn timer. On the normal camps, it's 2 minutes and 15 seconds, so enemy jungle will be returning to that side of the map around the 4-minute mark, and then once again after clearing around like the 6-minute 30 mark, and so on. Yeah, and if you have absolutely no info, as soon as the enemy jungler shows, you can kind of track which side they started on by clicking on them and seeing if they did red or blue buff first, depending on the red or blue buff duration, or if they only have one of the buffs left.